Rock it out now. Yo, you gotta do that dance Michael Jackson did and rock with me. Y'all know what it is. Yeah, rock it out, yo. I said a 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome, y'all.
What's goody, y'all? What's good?
Welcome to the Open Book Podcast, y'all. Thank you for joining us. I know we took a long hiatus, man, but I was actually surprised we've been getting some listens. Folks been in there peeping, especially our episode on Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt. Thank y'all for the listens. We appreciate it.
I think, I really enjoy doing that. I like when we do reviews because I feel like we go pretty deep. I feel like we hit some topics that a lot of people might be thinking about, but maybe they ain't got no podcast that's talking about it, and they ain't got no outlet to really dig into it. So I like that.
And, there's so many things out there, Twitter and TikTok. Everybody kind of has a little space where they delving into. So this is our space to delve into our thoughts.
Our space.
So
and it's the Open Book Podcast. So, we're going to be an open book with one another, man. We try to do our best and grow together, show what a marriage looks like, at least for us, how we do things.
Right.
All right. So with no further ado, this right here is another review episode. We've been watching some TV, y'all. We've been watching some, but don't get me wrong. It's really hard for us to lock in and find some time to do this. Man.
It is. It sounds like we be like binging, but we really don't.
It's
just,
tough.
We found something and it's like, let's check it out. And, we have to, we always want to talk about it like right after. So, one of these days we'll probably just start recording our conversations after each episode because we always have some really good meat. But, we finished watching. We started maybe a couple weeks ago and finished up today because it was a chill day after Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Chill day for us. Yeah. And so we finished it up today, and we just wanted to come while everything was still fresh, and just kind of dive in. So I don't know. I think I may have seen a couple people talking about the show and was like, hey, babe, let's check it out. Mm-hmm. And, Jay went and did some research and got some info on the show. And then we just kind of, delved in. Yeah.
So we can start with, this is obviously an extension of the James Patterson books.
James Patterson. Love James Patterson.
Yeah.
I've actually read Alex Cross books a long time ago. It's been a really, really, really long time. So I don't some things kind of came back to mind and some didn't. I just really remember visually Morgan Freeman playing him at one point in time. I think Tyler Perry also played him at one point in time. I didn't realize that there were so many additional series out there that tried to kind of
I didn't know either.
Step into it. So that was really interesting, but it's nice to see that they came and found a different way to bring them back in 24.
Yeah. And for me, I have never read any of these series or books. I don't even know if I've really even read any James Patterson. I know of James Patterson. I know, the lore about him.
There's controversy, of course.
But when I got started as a writer, one of the first things, and y'all can hear about this on our other episodes. One of the first things that I told my beautiful wife was I want to be a writer. And she was like, yo, you will be. Mm-hmm. Right. And one of the things that you did. Yes. And is. One of the things you did, you bought me a master class.
I did.
Yes. And so when I start digging through those master class, I saw oh man, James Patterson, who is this guy? What does he do? And I saw that he had a program where he's you can co-author with him. So you can buy into, bring your story. He'll put, I don't even know what he contributes to it, but it ends up coming out with your name on it and his name on it. Mm-hmm. And it can blow up. So it's your way into and I got to say, I was I don't know if this is me being a writing snob or whatever, but I saw that and I was like, yo, that's BS. Like this dude's just
taking your
run.
story.
I'm like, he's running a scam, man. Dude, like, do he even write anything? I felt like most people probably feel about Drake, right? Like, do he even write this stuff? Like, this dude got the most famous name in literature, and he probably don't even write nothing.
And I've read quite a few James Patterson books back in the day. And most of them have been pretty good. I haven't really read a bad one, so I'm assuming that they were all his. But I don't know.
It is James Patterson is Drake, y'all. But as you know, babe, I like Drake. I respect it.
Mm-hmm. And I like James Patterson. So
exactly, I think James Patterson is, when you get that big, you got to take your hat off, right? You could nitpick all the details, but take your hat off to what they was able to accomplish. It's legendary.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So like seeing this cast was like, okay, what we working with, what we talking about.
So first, let me just say, I did see, I think it was on Amazon Prime too, back when Tyler Perry did it. And I was like, ugh, yuck.
I can't really remember. I remember him doing, what was it, Good Deeds? He did something that was like him trying to take it seriously. And I think it was either before or after he did Alex Cross.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was good or not. To be quite honest, I just remember he tried his hand at it.
That's why I think it was on Amazon Prime too, because I remember scrolling Prime and seeing a big thing that said Alex Cross played by Tyler Perry, and I was like,
what?
What?
Madea? No.
Exactly.
So, but, yeah, okay.
Like you said, I didn't do as much research as I normally do on this one, but what I did find, there's an interview out there with James Patterson where he was talking about the history of Alex Cross, right? And he's talking about, all of the movies, Hollywood came along. You look at this story and it looks like, man, Hollywood came knocking and, it just blew you up. But he said that's not how it went. He said Hollywood came knocking and he told them no. Mm-hmm. And he said he told them no because they said the first thing they wanted to do was change Alex Cross to be white. Mm-hmm. And he told this story about him growing up and his mother being friends with a black woman in their neighborhood and inviting her to come live with them for a while. And all the black people that he knew growing up in the town and in his house were super smart. Mm-hmm. And he was like, the world he came from, the black people he knew were the smartest people in the room. Mm-hmm. And he didn't look on movies and see that. It's like you turn on movies and the black people are never the smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. And it didn't align with what he knew in life. So he was like, I'm going to write a story that shows what I grew up with, where the black dude is the smartest dude, right? So he was like, that's why he told him no, and he was broke at the time, but they obviously came back knocking. He just had to wait him out, and he got Morgan Freeman. So
good job with sitting on your hands, James Patterson, because you had a vision. You knew how that book, you wrote it the way it needed to be presented to everyone. So good job for you to making sure that it was presented exactly how you wrote it and with the people that you wanted in it. You can't go wrong with Morgan Freeman. So
cannot.
Perfect cast.
And that leads into the first point I thought about this, where Aldis Hodge, who I'm a big fan of Aldis Hodge. We all know Morgan Freeman. Mm-hmm. Morgan Freeman is a rarity, right? Like a black actor from the 70s who is always looked at in a dignified light.
Yes.
Always. Mm-hmm. But that's not the case for most black actors in Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. So I was interested in seeing, how do you pass the baton to another person younger who can have that dignity?
Right.
Right. So I was like, when I saw Aldis Hodge, I'm like, thumbs up, because I'd like to see this happen. We need more actors that's not just, some kind of pimp or drug dealer or even sex symbol. They got to have a dignity to it. I thought it was dope. Mm-hmm. Aldis Hodge, I had seen, not in a whole lot of stuff, but my favorite one with him was the One Night in Miami, where I thought he did an excellent job of bringing life to Jim Brown as a character.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I was like, thumbs up. I'm anxious to see this.
And I haven't seen him in a lot, not a lot of the cast, really. I haven't seen them in maybe a trickle of movies. Yeah. But it was nice to have a fresh cast. Yes. And it not be, a bunch of, everybody's that everybody know. But, some of these people maybe possibly getting a fresh start with, this show. So that was really dope. And I hadn't seen him. I mean, had you not just mentioned that movie, I would have been like, I don't think I've seen anything. But yeah, I do remember him in that movie. But I mean, how long ago was that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, he's still a fresh face.
Oh yeah, he's
So
definitely
it
still a
was
fresh face.
Nice to, see some fresh faces in this new series.
And I don't know if it has a lot to do with did they have like a writer's strike recently in the last 5 years? I know COVID had a lot to do with, but I think a lot of the shows, especially shows, these shows could be movies, but they end up being shows. And I think like 50 Cent said something recently, like, right, you go to a show because it's easier to get on because you don't need a star to sell a show. But you do need a star to sell a movie. So I think this is one of those cases where, yeah, you bring it to the show and you can, like you said, populate it with a bunch of actors who we've never seen and stuff and still do a good job.
And to be quite honest, I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to see this as a movie.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on. It would have been a little bit too much for me to see this as a movie. I definitely wouldn't have tuned in. So this is a show really worked perfectly.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
Plus, like you said, as a movie, they would have had to take out
so much. Because each episode is 8 episodes and they're each an hour long. So yeah, they would have had to take out quite a bit.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. Aldis Hodge plays Alex Cross, but again, I'm not familiar with Alex Cross. He was also called Isaiah in this show. What's up with that? Is it Isaiah Alex Cross? Is that like the history of the character?
I'm guessing so. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I actually read the books. I just remembered that there was, it was dark and he was really kind of always trying to solve a case. But it seemed like, it's like an episode of CSI, like on a continual loop. Like, this is pretty much what he's living, which is essentially what we see in the show. He's always like fighting and trying to keep his family safe.
Yeah.
And it's, some killer that's coming, some psychopath that he has to deal with. And I mean, it's like every book is pretty much like that. And I think I may have read maybe 1 or 2 books, but then after a while it was like, okay, I'm going to move on from Mr. Cross, but that's great that he had, such a huge following. And I think this show kind of reminded me like, oh yes, he had a lot going on a regular basis. Right. Okay. This is why I kind of, stepped away from this particular series, but it was a really good series. It was a little too dark for me.
What's up, y'all? This is Jay Floyd, one half of the Open Book Podcast. Listen, I'm so glad y'all are rocking with us. We're so glad y'all tapped in to see what we got going on. Me and my wife are so excited about this podcast, but we also got some other things going on. So go out and check us out. We have a brand new coloring book for children, man. One of the things that we want to do under our imprint called What's Good Publishing is publish some books that can help Black culture move forward, be more appreciated. We have a book out right now called Burnt Sienna. That's BURNT SINNA. The book is a coloring book for children that profiles like 20 really, really dope Black historical figures, gives them an opportunity to color them in. Burnt Sienna is the name of a special color that's kind of brown, it's kind of red, it's kind of us. You know what I mean? It's only in the 64 box of coloring crayons. So go check those out. Make sure you got at least get a brown. But if you ain't got brown, make sure if you can go above and beyond brown, go get that Burnt Sienna. Go get that 64 box with the sharpener on the back like we had back in the day. And check that book out. It's really about helping children of all cultures and all backgrounds really have a greater appreciation for Black images and learn a little bit of something along the way, right? Because these are figures that not many schools are teaching about. So go check us out. It's on Amazon right now. You could actually go hit the link directly if you go to what'sgood.work. That's www.what'sgood.work. Hey, let's head back to the show, y'all. Very dark. I'm looking right now. If I Google Cross, what comes up for the genre and description is unsettling, enigmatic, and analytical. Definitely unsettling. I mean, it was some episodes. Once you get to like 6,
yeah, it was tough.
it was like, this a lot, man.
But I love that they did really incorporate. He's a doctor, so they really made sure that they put in those moments of why he was such a brilliant detective, because he had a way of putting the pieces together and being able to see what other people couldn't. So I love that they did throw those in. It was scattered. I would have liked to see a lot more of it. But it was nice to see it when it happened.
Yeah. So let's get into it. We're going to toss the spoiler alert now because I'm way too tired into the holiday to figure out which ones is spoilers and which ones ain't. So I'm going to let you know up front. We're going to spoil some stuff.
Yep.
If you rocking with us, you rocking with us.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
So Alex Cross, the world's best detective.
World's best detective, psychologist. The episode really kind of goes into.
It's a good point, right? They made that clear up front.
Yes, it was
Dr. Alex Cross.
Alex Cross, yes. And the very first scene is him going into the interview room to interrogate a racist, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so interesting how they started that because, you go in and you see him still struggling with the death of his wife and then him about to put in leave paperwork and goes right into kind of doing what he does. And I mean, even that scene was kind of weird, right? Because they go in and interview this guy, and this guy is clearly a racist.
Yeah.
And he kind of like gets them all riled up, and it's like, oh, you said this thing, and that's going to kind of get us to get you. And it's like, what? What did we miss?
Let me just put this out there, right? And no disrespect to anybody who loves Alex Cross or loves this show, or I'm sure there's a lot of Aldis Hodge fans out there now, and this ain't nothing to do with him. But man, the way they wrote this character, man, for one, the world's greatest detective. Like what? Like really? Yeah. I didn't see that.
No, I mean, it was interesting.
But I could see how they were trying to portray it, right? Like he's basically like Encyclopedia Brown on steroids. Like, right, he walk in and he catch you with the one thing. But it was like, these aren't things that the average smart person can't do.
And it's DC's greatest
Really?
detective.
I thought it was the world's.
I mean, it's
a couple
DC's
of times they
greatest.
said world's greatest detective, right?
Yeah, I mean, because he does do a great job of solving these crazy crimes.
And granted, I think
that puts him on the top of the map.
He thinks outside of the box really well. But as far as like, I would expect him to be a little quicker with stuff. And I know as a detective, you have to part-time do police work.
Yeah, but he was ingrained in it.
But he sucked as a policeman.
I mean, he's a detective.
You know how many? No. And I know I was harping on it. So many times he should have called real police.
They should have, but I guess they didn't want them to muddy up their scene, right? But you're right. There were a lot of times in some of these episodes, it was like, bruh, where is your backup? Like, why y'all making so much noise? Y'all ain't got yourselves caught.
So the lady, obviously there's a couple of stories, right? This is very similar to our review on Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, there's
because you're juggling multiple storylines at once.
You got the Black Lives Matter
that
he's dealing with because of one of the murders. Two of the murders actually that happened back to back.
Which reminded me of Reasonable Doubt. I'm like, did these all get written in the COVID Black Lives Matter time? Because that seemed the death of a militant thing is like, that's really popular right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It
could be.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kind of came out after COVID that we probably wouldn't have seen before COVID.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's nice to see how many Black shows that they have out now post COVID that, are recirculating. So I ain't mad at it.
Oh, and speaking of Black, shout out to the fact that this show had two Black leads, two Black male leads.
Men leads. Yes.
Aldis Hodge, Isaiah Mustafa plays John Sampson, who is Aldis Hodge's childhood friend / brother, and also co-worker on the police force. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was really dope, really dope. I like the way they portrayed the chemistry. I like if you just look, if you take away everything else and you only look at the story arc of these two friends, I thought it was a really great story of them having some struggles. One of them admitting he was wrong, showing up, and them coming back together and being there for each other. A lot of the times I like to say, and this is me as a writer and as a growing writer, I'm always like, what was that actual thread like? Because the threads have to be strong. And that was a really strong thread.
It was.
With Cross and Samson as childhood friends. I thought they did a good job of having even the other characters chime in with, oh man, you met him when you was little. You didn't. It was like they painted that whole thread really, really good.
I agree. And it was very nice to see the struggle, to be able to see them have struggle and be able to work through that.
Yeah.
Because it definitely came to a crescendo, right? But it was nice to be able to see what that looked like when it worked itself out, So, yes, big shots out for us to be able to see Black men in the lead.
Loved it.
Making it work and knocking it out. They did an excellent job together.
Loved it. They did a great job.
But even in that, there were some scenes that was like, what are y'all doing? Like, why are y'all so like y'all making all this noise? Y'all done got these people all jacked up because like you made yourself notice because y'all making all this
Every
noise.
time.
It was just weird. And I mean, a lot of it was Alex just having so much turmoil with trying to find the killer of his wife. And there being this, this thing between them for the whole season.
Not only that, his parents got killed too.
His parents got killed. His wife got killed. Him trying to find his wife's killer. And now he's, merging this with this new serial killer that's out there. So, I mean, this show, it starts out with a lot on the table. The first episode was just kind of like, what is going on? And I do not watch movies like this, shows like this.
Facts.
I stray. I am a firm believer of not bringing that negative energy in. So I am very, I try my best to kind of screen some of the things that I watch, and something like when we watched it the first time, it was a nighttime.
Yeah. And
I was like, yeah, this ain't one we watching in the night. Because it was already super dark. Like the first episode was just really, really dark. And, the whole season,
literally and figurative.
Yeah.
That's a dark show to watch. You can't even really see.
Couldn't,
we had to adjust the settings on our TV a couple of times. Like, why can't we see
anything? Right. But I mean, that's
the show.
That's the show. Yeah. That's the show. Yeah. So
it was definitely dark.
It was very dark.
So overall, there's two killers being tracked here, right? There's the main thread I was thrown off by, right? So right in episode 1, they tell you who the killer is, right?
Yep.
So we get to see Alex Cross, his wife gets killed. Boom. Okay. How do we deal with that? Is that what we're going to be pursuing? No, it's not. There is a Black Lives Matter type protester who's killed, right? Okay. That's the main story, right? So let's track it down, and they start tracing that. So turns out they're chasing a serial killer, not just the killer of this protester. But not only is the protester has a complex life himself, so they have to go down the rabbit hole of piecing his life together and his secrets to figure out who he is. Then once they get to the killer, they're chasing this dude for 5 episodes.
Yeah, it was a wow. And then, I mean, the first guy, he was murdered. And then the second guy came right after.
Yeah.
Like, literally, was that all in the same episode?
Yeah.
Or it was like close. The first 2 episodes, it was like back to back. And then you see there's an informant. Of course, there's always an informant, right? You see
former cop,
dirty cop who's helping the killer.
Who, by the way, he did an excellent job. I gotta say, let me look.
Oh my gosh,
this dude's name is Johnny Ray Gill, babe.
Oh my gosh.
And look at his pictures on Google. Look at this dude.
Yep. Yep. He played that part to the T. You hear me? Because I was like, oh, my Lord. Oh, I don't even want to be in a mile of this dude at all. Oh, he just is not somebody that you want to be on his radar. You don't want to be on his radar. You don't want to be nowhere near him. You don't even want to talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially for what he did to old dude's girlfriend. Like knowing, first off, and even, okay. So like Bay said, there's a lot going on. The first episode, you kind of see there's this murder. We kind of piece together, Alex starts to piece together that, wait a minute, this seems off. And I'd say the first 3 episodes. It's like, okay, something's off. This guy that we're looking for, he's essentially murdering these people who look like other people that have been executed or have been caught by the police. And, they were in prison for some time for doing something. So he's trying to create his own book. He's trying to be the up and coming serial killer, to create his own showcase of art, as he would call it. And he's actually an artist, right? So that's the thing. Like, he's an artist in real life. He has, an art gallery that presents his work of...
He's like some kind of eccentric billionaire artist too, right?
Yeah. And like the work that he has out at the gallery is of like people dying, which is, a great cover, I guess, if you're, that's what you do in real life. You're showing people that you're this artist, as air quoting here, but then that's actually what you're really doing in the nighttime is you kidnapping these people and really actually brutalizing them and turning them into what you call artwork.
And we see that early, like they explain most of that early. They show us this is what he's doing. It's just a cat and mouse game between him and Cross. And it's really, what it reminded me kind of is Batman and the Joker, right? It's like Batman is the world's greatest detective. That's his tagline. And then you got Joker, who's like this insane dude. So that's what this kind of reminded me of, where it's like, you don't have to figure out who did it. You got to figure out the complexity of how he did it and why he did it, right? Like, we're going to show you up front who did it. You got to figure out all of the mental details. And I thought that was good. And Cross, he does have what would you call it? It's like a spidey sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
He does a good job. Yeah, I mean, he pieced it all together. Yeah, I would call it a spidey.
He ain't have it in certain, I mean.
Some areas
how you just going to walk up to a person who works for the main killer and let her hug you? And next thing you know, you got a needle in your belly.
Yes. So some of the things, like, I mean, if I was a police officer, I would be, or even a detective, I would always have on a bulletproof vest.
Yes.
Like, that would be something that was on my persons all the time, especially because your wife was murdered, like, I would always make sure that I'm covered. But there was like so many scenes where it was just like, this doesn't make sense. Like when, the one guy at the very beginning, he gets murdered, and then his brother knows information, and then he gets murdered, and then the girlfriend takes the phone, and then the girlfriend goes off to the other side of town. She leaves her son with her sister
to hide out in the seedy motel
out with the cell phone, where the lunatic guy we was just talking about finds her and is in the room right next to her, so we can see him prepping to
getting zooted off that nose candy,
torture her. And like, of course, she goes to get tortured, and then Alex figures out where they're at, right? And finds the motel that they're in and makes
what do you do, babe?
So much noise. Him and his boy, Two John, makes so much noise running to get to the room that it alerts this lunatic. He winds up getting the information from the girl and still killing her.
And escaping.
And escaping. and escaping. And like, she winds up sending the information to her iPad or whatever, and he just went over to the girl's sister's house and got the information. Then he had this long talk with her son, and it was like, I mean, why would you take the phone in the first place? Like, it would have been better because she was able to call like the newspaper lady,
right?
And it's like, it would have been better for you to send whatever it was that you was looking for in your phone, in his phone, to yourself, dump the phone, which is what she ultimately did anyway.
Yeah, that's what ended up happening.
But it was like, I mean, what did you think you were gonna accomplish? Like, you have a son. Why would you just saw your boyfriend get shot.
There was not great parental decisions being made. Because then the son was sitting outside on the stoop.
Outside.
By himself.
After all of this happened to his dad. He's sitting outside on the stoop by himself.
His dad literally just got sniped from a distance.
And Alex just walk up to the boy. It's like, what is going on here? It was just so many instances of like This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then like really kind of getting into like this dude's like scene, how many people he had working for him.
It's crazy.
It was like a club that they were in
Crazy.
where it's like they had live shows and meetings and he wore masks and he had all of these people that was in on him.
It's like a Diddy party.
Yeah, mutilating these people. Yeah, it was crazy how much was just happening behind the scenes and how many people was paid off to be,
Yeah.
I mean, even within the police department to kind of just turn a blind eye or feed them this information that they needed to get the people that they needed to get.
I will say, like, man, yeah, they was kind of naive. They walked into some situations that you would not expect these great detectives to walk into, and they was not calling the cops.
No, they weren't
backup.
calling the. And this guy, I mean, he had so much power. He had so many people in his pocket. He was just like, I mean, we knew from the first episode who the killer was. And I mean, even with the girl that Shannon, the girl that he grabbed, like, he presented her with like a fake profile and they met on some online website. And then this guy shows up who is completely different from the picture that's online. And she still like stay and have lunch with him. And it's like, girl, bye. Like, I don't care how good looking you is. Like, this dude straight catfished you to get you here. And now he like, oh, I'm sorry, I do XYZ. Do you want to still have lunch? No. Because I'm automatically thinking you're a psychopath and you're probably going to try to kill me. Like, absolutely not. But she was like, oh, okay. And then he took her to that gallery, right? Where she saw all of the stuff and she
was into it.
It's so amazing the work that
She
you
was
do.
into it.
Like, girl, you don't even know you about to become his
The crazy
work.
part is then when he told her, at first she was about
She
it.
was with it. She was with it.
It's like, oh yeah, you gonna kill me as part of this. Cool.
She was with it.
But let me just say though, because this is the part that irked me the most, because it happened a couple of times, man. People, if your life is on the line and you with a murderer who is clearly going to kill you, and you get one opportunity to do something about it, why were they so stupid in these opportunities?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, she had multiple times where she could have shanked dude in the throat.
He uncuffed her and they ate a meal together with a knife and fork sitting in front of her. Remember, he was like, I'm not going to let you hold the knife because then you might try to get out. It's still sitting right in front of me.
And remember, he drugged the wine. And then she was like, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
And then that was it. But then he did also kill somebody. Remember, she was able to alert somebody.
True.
And
But
he did
wait a
murder
minute,
in
babe.
front
You
of
know
her.
the worst one is when he's out at the party. She's in the dungeon locked away. She finds a way to flip herself over in the chair, get to this glass.
Yeah, because he has her in the wine room cellar.
She's in a wine cellar surrounded by thousands of bottles. A bottle, he comes in and breaks a bottle. He's upset, right?
Yep.
She, after he leaves, she jiggles herself around until the chair flips over. She's able to access the broken shards.
Yep.
Use the shards to get her. You know how hard all of that is? Like, seriously.
Put in a lot of work.
She put in all kind of work. She successfully frees herself, y'all, without him being there. She's free.
Yeah.
The door is locked, though, so she got to wait for him to come back. This chick, she waits behind the door. Behind the door, right? If you waiting behind the door for your potential killer, what you waiting with? What you waiting to do and what you waiting with? This chick was waiting with a full bottle of wine.
Yep, she was.
And as soon as he came in the door, then she went to try to break it
She broke it.
to hit him. It's gotta already be broke.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
Should have been a wrap. As soon as she seen him, she should have started jagged
Yes.
glass, not busting it when it
You
get
don't
there.
even know if this gonna break on your first try.
Right.
Why are you waiting?
And then she runs. She get him down. She cut him. She get him down. She run. She get practically outside. He catches her. She cuts her face. She don't cut him again. She cuts her face.
Cuts her face.
Which, I mean, it does buy her more time.
It does.
And this is what upsets him. Not the fact that she cut him or that she ran. It's the fact that she's cutting herself because, again, she is his art. And he is trying to emulate this other person that was murdered that he wants to make her look like. So he's
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, you're damaging yourself. We can't do that. That was the thing that upset him.
This is the thing that I don't get.
I mean, even that night was just a mess.
It was a mess. And then it happened again, right? So after you flip down the end, down the road, it ends up there's an even bigger villain to worry about who's right in front of his face.
Mm-hmm.
The piano teacher, right? So somehow he agrees to let this piano teacher lady take his children to a remote location that he has no idea where it is. He's never been there. It's almost 4 hours away from where he is. There's no cell phone reception.
No Wi-Fi.
And no Wi-Fi. There's only a landline. And she says, I'm going to take them there to keep them safe.
And this is because his grandmother is attacked.
Right?
And she's in the hospital. And he realizes who attacked her.
Yes.
And he goes to the guy's house to try to get more information. And then realize, him doing what he do, comes to find out that this lady who's been with his kids all this time is the mother of the man that's been stalking him and killed his wife and been sending him all these crazy flowers and stuff.
Go back to the grandmother.
Grandma
What
was her name? Nana Mama?
Nana Mama get hurt. The man then jacked her up. The man that then been chasing Cross forever, then jacked her up, put her in the hospital. Oh my God. We got to tell the kids. I even got a picture of the man who did it. I'm about to do this. I'm about to let my kids know our lives are all in danger. Listen to me. All of my parents out there that's listening. If this happened to you, if you were a single dad whose wife been murdered and parents been murdered and his grandmother just got jacked up and his kids are the only thing he got, and some woman who is a piano teacher to your son,
who they felt they could trust,
don't matter, says, I'll take them with me to a place you've never been, that doesn't have Wi-Fi and no. Listen to me, y'all. As a parent, some horrible things is going down. All of y'all lives in danger. Are you doing that? Are you signing up for one of your kids' music teachers to take them to an off remote location hours away that you've never been to keep them safe? I don't care if you are 100% trustworthy. That's a bad plan.
Yeah, no, it was not a very good idea. No Wi-Fi, no nothing.
Even if she wasn't the killer,
and they said the
killer would have still found them and killed them.
It was literally in the middle of nowhere. Wait, as soon as they said cabin, they was like, what?
You already knew.
Say what?
Ain't never been a cabin that was safe in a movie. Ain't never been.
In the middle of nowhere and there's no neighbors.
Who gonna let their kids go? Like, for real?
Nobody.
I'm thinking, I'll put myself in the situation, right? If I'm Alex Cross, the world's best detective, right? I know this dude. These people is coming after me. Our lives is on the line. My thing is, my kids is with me. You gonna kill my kids? It's gonna be with me dead first. Mm-hmm. Period. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Ain't no other plan to be had.
It reminds me of The Bodyguard when they went out to the cabinet and dude came and murked out the sister, and it's like, what are you doing? You telling the wrong people where you going, what you doing? You're out in the middle of nowhere.
Instinct, man. Like, what if you don't do that? I understand you want to keep the kids safe, but no. They're not going with this lady to no remote cabin. It's not happening.
No. I mean, we looked at each other like, wait, what is he about to do? This is not the smartest
thing.
They
would be safer just staying right with me in a room behind me. We would have been safer. Like, why are we taking them to a cabin? That's going to take me 4 hours. Even when I can get through to you on the landline phone.
It's 4 hours. And I mean, she made sure to let him. He had no control, no power. I mean, it ended well. But
I would not even trust, and call me cynical, I would never even trust somebody who suggested that to me.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
There's no way.
No, I totally agree. Because she was all in the mix. Like, why are you even here hustling?
Exactly.
Why are you here hustling? No.
Who would even say, oh, man, these people I really care about, their lives is in danger. Let me offer to take their kids to a cabin.
It's like I need to do some back. I mean, obviously they hadn't done any background research on her from the jump, but at this point, I'm talking about taking my kids away with you. We need to find out who you is, who you know, what's going on, and that's gonna take more than you taking my kids out for a weekend. No, we're not doing that. I don't know you.
This killer had stalked him for years. Had got into the camera system in his house. Knew what his kids was doing. How do you think they don't know, even if it wasn't that lady, how do you think that dude don't know that lady is sitting with you offering to take your, of course they do. It's like the whole plan was just bad.
And it's crazy because he was getting hit from all angles. Like, you can't really trust anyone. I mean, because we even questioned his partner. We questioned his partner. Like, how real is he being? Like, is he untrustworthy? Is he really about to be turning on him? Like, you know, how does a serial killer know stuff that only maybe his best friend would know? Yep. And I mean, that was the great thing about the show, is that it definitely had you thinking throughout each episode. Like, who can you really trust? Like, somebody, okay, they seem legit, but and then you got the one episode where they go to this dude's house, which is actually the same episode where old girl was able to possibly escape. And he alerts the guy. He like, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna play with his mind, and I'm gonna let him know we kind of got a profile. And he just go on, and he lead a party to go to the bathroom, and he gone for so long that his girlfriend is like, well, tells the serial killer, well, I don't know where he went. He's been gone for so long. And then the dude catches him in the room, and it's like he's trying to trying to
take cell phone pictures of his
stuff.
Oh
my gosh. It was just like my guy. What are you doing?
I was like, I mean, how's that the world's greatest detective? Like, I'm trying to understand.
And then it's like antagonizing them, and then they going cat and mouse through the rest of the episode, and it winds up ending very bad for him. It was just like, oh,
I will say this. I know I'm roasting them on the world's greatest detective thing, but I think that's just a bad title. Like, Batman is horrible as the world's greatest detective too. And anybody who's talked to me long enough knows how I feel about Batman, right? So yeah, I think it's just calling yourself the world's greatest detective is probably just means you pretty crappy at it and you just obsessive.
But he did really good though. I mean, he did. He was the main one.
He had a technique that worked.
The main one that was finding the clue. Aside from the one girl, he was finding the clues. He was piecing it together. He was
when you
working
hand him
the
stuff, he zone out and he do the spidey tingly thing. Like even in the one scene after him and his partner John fell out. And John still handed him the envelope and was like, do your thing.
Right.
Yeah, he's got that thing.
He got a thing.
And it did work.
And it worked. I mean, he is named that for a reason. He did. He was the main one piecing everything together. He knew from jump who the killer was. It was just convincing everybody else.
I feel like Cross is really, he's like Columbo, right? Like you send him in. But then once you got enough information, then you got to call a real policeman who can really do, because man, when he go in, it's like, what is going on?
They even brought that, because they had a leak, and, then they find out that it was a supervisor who was also in on it and feeding him all of this information.
They did do a good job of swerving us on who it was.
Yeah, they did. It was, I think ultimately it was a good show. It was a lot of dark, eerie moments though. Like you seen him taking this woman and like, especially like the scene where she's texting her mom so her mom would know where she was. And then she gets in this house and then she uses this dude's hand sanitizer and he then laced it with fentanyl, right? And it's like, oh, let me text my mom real quick. And the text message goes to him. Like eerie stuff like that. Like, oh my gosh,
or
this
even
is
cutting
insane.
her open and doing her teeth and all of that
like
stuff.
Breaking her teeth and then putting new teeth in, and like us really seeing him transform her into somebody else. It was creepy as hell. Like,
and the way most people died, like there was graphic deaths.
Yeah,
it was
graphic deaths. It was a lot. I mean, you got an opener where you see a man get his head bashed in with a bat. I mean, it was a lot. Or the one girl got her throat slit, or somebody else got shot in the head. I mean, it was just a lot. It was a very dark show. I thought that they did a great job of portraying what his life was like. I mean, that is essentially what he had to deal with every day. He had it coming at him from all angles. His family was highly involved.
At the end of the day, he's a cop.
He's a cop.
In the Black Lives Matter era. So in DC, he in Chocolate City. Mm-hmm. So he's surrounded by his culture who don't like cops right now. So I think they did an excellent job of showing that part.
They did. I mean, even Nana Mama got involved. She was like, we need to figure out who's doing what. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot. I mean,
what about the casting? I know we made a couple of notes on how great. I mean, them kids look like him.
They did. I mean, even the young Cross looked like him.
Great job,
they did
man.
Such an amazing job of
Shout
casting
out to
his
that.
kids.
Because when it come to black casting, man, usually they just grab some black people, man.
Even the Nana Mama, they did a great job casting her as well. Yeah. And the girlfriend. The girlfriend was beautiful, by the way.
She was.
Very, very beautiful.
They did a good job of balancing that.
Yes.
Having Cross and his girlfriend be just extremely attractive, but also have these darknesses and not necessarily seeing them in the depth that you wanted to all the time. I think they did a good job with that.
And I thought they also did a great job of showing what it looks like to not get the therapy that you need and really just be working on just all of this pent up emotion. Like, you can't go see your wife's gravesite. You can't talk to your kids about your wife. You can't hear certain songs. You're literally like, on a daily basis.
And you won't even let your friend in, your most trusted friend, your
most trusted friend. Like, I mean, you trying to find your wife's killer, you're trying to find, solve all these other murders that's happening, and you still haven't dealt with any of your grief. You don't want to deal with any of your grief. And this is trickling out to everybody around you. I mean, it was intense. It was sad to see. And it was nice to see them wrap that up with him actually going to get the therapy that he needs, because he absolutely needed it. And I mean, that was something that we talked about too, was like how his friend was like, John was like really pushing him to get the therapy. And it's like, I mean, is this dude really legit? Like, is he setting him up? Like, is this like, because why he keep bringing this up or why he keep bringing that up? And it's like.
He even said it too, right? He was like, you was the one where you want to keep bringing this up.
Yeah, you keep bringing this up. And I mean, it got to the point where we was even thinking like, I mean, why he keep harping on it? But I mean, he needed to, because you could see that it just was so unhealthy for him, and it was damaging all of his relationships, even his kids. It was very, very tough to watch.
It was.
But I love that they did address it.
I think it was super vital that you address it when you got a lead black male or two lead black males. You have to address that. I thought they did a really good job with it. I could relate to a lot of it as a survivor of a victim of homicide, as a lot of the feelings and darkness that I saw in him that I could relate to. I thought it was really good for them to show how even in your friendships, it impacts you socially, all of that, right? Like, he was, even in him trying to date and have a relationship, he was stunted.
Mm-hmm. He was very stunted.
And it was like he couldn't even, he put himself in the position, but he wasn't prepared to actually do it. And then in his friendship, it struggled, right? I thought they did a really accurate depiction of that. You could see and feel, and Aldis Hodge did a good job showing that. He got one of them faces.
Oh man,
it reminds me of like a black Batman mask. His face shows darkness real good.
Yes,
like,
he was the perfect person for this role. Oh, perfect. I mean, because there was a one scene where they had the karaoke night at the house, and his wife was a singer, and shout out to them too for us being able to see his wife and how much. How pivotal of a role she played and why he loved her so much. You could see the love there.
Yeah.
And they had the karaoke night, which they hadn't had in a while. And they get to the big moment, right, where girlfriend's invited and they have all of these people there and they singing. And then the one song gets dubbed over with the 911 call the day that she was. It was just like, and the kids got exposed. So it's like, yes, we're talking about the fact that he has a lot of unhealed trauma and he's not going to therapy, but he also is still living his trauma on a regular basis. It's like that scab is getting open. I mean, it's not healing, so I can't even say it's a scab. It's literally like an infection that's getting worse and worse every day. And I mean, he can't even put any salve on it because it's just something else is coming to hit it from out of nowhere. So it was just... It was tough.
I kept thinking it was gonna happen again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. It was a lot of moments where we were thinking, like, oh no, it's gonna pop up.
Like when they played that tape of, he was like, the son was like, "What's a good memory you have of mom?" Mm-hmm. It's like when she made this tape, I just knew that was gonna happen again. That was
a dope moment too.
And then there was one other time,
the scarf,
which was actually a last time, which probably was just, I have PTSD, so that's part of, your mind when you have PTSD paints the worst case scenario. And so I kept, looking at this story, I just kept thinking it was going to happen. Like at the end, after everything was wrapped up, like the very end, when they showed the lady who was kept by the killer, and she was now in the hospital and she's getting better, and her parents are there, and she's finally waking up, and she writes a note. Why in my mind I was like, what if she wrote on there, "Kill Alex Cross," and then it starts all the way over? Like,
because it could have easily went that, and it was a pause for them to read it, so it could have went very dark. Yes. And you're right, it was that moment where, oh boy, like, was she writing? Oh, this is not gonna end like we thought, right? It's not gonna go well. No,
I was really like, man, when they read that, I was like, it would have been said, "Kill Alex Cross."
Yeah.
Because everything just kept coming to get him. Everything in this show was like, we got to get him. So, and that was another point I wanted to touch on. You touched on it a little bit, but the cynical mind that we programmed to is, there's no way these two black men are going to stay loyal to each other.
Yep.
And that's not me pointing the finger. That's me saying, I thought that. Uh-huh. I personally was like, it's got to be his best friend. Like, I mean, they too close. It's too perfect. Yep. But why is that too perfect? Just for two black men to have loyalty like that and to be that close. But in my mind, it was like, no, you can't have two black men like this that are painted as brothers and so close they're in each other's family. One of them is going to turn their back. Mm-hmm. And although that will be painful to watch, I kind of expect it.
Right, because why he knows so much about his wife and why he doing this and why he doing that. And then even when they did split up, it was like, oh, he probably in on it. And oh, he probably working with them. And it's like to see every moment, like, no, he's actually doing this and he's really doing that. And it was just like, oh, shoot, we done fell in the dang on rabbit hole.
Now, granted, like, that was great writing. I'm sure they wanted us to feel that way. They absolutely
wanted that.
But the way that real art does, it plays on real life. They wrote that because they knew most people would instantly think there's no way these two men are going to stay loyal to each other.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that they were able to resolve. Like even when he came to him and gave the apology, we had to go back and see that again because I just loved it.
We had to go back. Yo, my wife.
I'm the rewind queen.
So clearly was like, you're going to have to bring that back, babe. I didn't even ask no questions. Did I?
You didn't.
I rewound that bad boy all the way back to before that scene. I am the rewind
queen. I'm gonna let y'all know. If it's a good scene, I want to see it again. And I don't want to wait to see it. I want to see it again right then and there.
Sometimes I complain. Sometimes I begrudgingly rewind, or I'll just rewind a little bit, and I should be like, nope, that ain't enough. But this time I was like, nah, this is pretty clear. She gonna
I want to see it from the beginning when he came to him and he said what he said.
And by the way, we're talking about the scene in the episode called "You Had Me at Motherfucker."
You had me at motherfucker.
Which, as soon as I saw that title, I was like, I knew when they deliver this line, that's gonna be dope.
It was perfect. I mean, his apology, granted, it took forever for him to give it to him, and he was in dire need of him when he gave it. It was perfect. He did. It was a very good apology.
That was rare because there's a lot of people that give a genuine apology, but they still ignore the fact that the only reason they are there is because they need you again.
And you could see how John was like, genuinely like, oh wow, oh, and you address that too. You could see the shock on his face, like, oh man, so all right, I'm he addressing everything, and I appreciate that
because that's always the first thing that can be somebody can come back at you with.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I hear you, but why you only here because you need me?
Yep, man. And I mean, just the emotion that passed through that moment, even on Alex's face. You hit it on the nail. He's so expressive in this series. I mean, they both were perfect in their lanes. I did a really, really good job casting both of them.
He's a brooder. I'm telling you, he reminds me of Batman. It's like all up in his face. And I think he does, and it's impressive because he does it without the mask. And yeah, really dope. So overall, what'd you feel? Now that because we watched it, you know, you always had that instant reaction. Then you need a moment to breathe.
Right.
Now we've actually rehashed it again.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think after all of that?
Oh, and it's another thing. Before we get there, it was another thing, right? Because they had him on video attacking someone who he thought killed his wife or was involved with it. And I love that, you know, we thought the police chief, we thought everybody, okay? I ain't like old girl with the gray hair. I was not feeling her. You could tell that she wanted to be mayor. She was just trying to wrap things up. She wasn't trying to hear that it was her boy.
That one was too. It was too clean though. I was like, it can't be her because it's too in your face.
She was so on my nerves, right? I just wanted to kick her. But to see, like, you know, the video dropped of him assaulting someone, and then obviously he had to go on leave, and then that's what happened. He reported it that they needed to go. His boy reported it.
So he went on leave twice.
Right.
After his wife got killed, he went off on somebody who thought did it and beat up a black man. In the middle of DC and got filmed.
And it got filmed and put out there for the news to get it.
So he was on leave for that. But then he got on leave again during the show because he was accusing somebody that nobody thought did it.
And then the police chief, they took his badge while he was going through all of this stuff with the serial killer. The person who murdered his wife came after him and his family. And then the chief was like, here, I'm gonna give you your badge back, and we gonna sweep all of this under the rug. And he was like, he was really upset about that. And I love that they showed how upset he was about that, because they gave old boy a settlement, and he still did an interview with him to have the conversation and allow that man to speak about what happened and how he felt and why he ran, and, you know, allowed them to have the conversation that needed to be had and allowed Alex to apologize. I really appreciated that they included that in it.
Thought it was dope.
And so with that being said, and us being able to kind of look at everything now from, you know, just talking about it, I thought it was a good series. I definitely see why people hyped it up. Mm-hmm. Again, like, we were going to watch it yesterday. We were going to finish it up yesterday, but it was like, nah. It's a little too dark to watch on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving feel good.
We had a great day. Let's not do it today. Let's, you know, do it when we got some time to really finish up and watch it. I would probably give it about a 7.5. Maybe even an 8. I thought it was a good series. I didn't think it was bad at all. I thought it was really a really good watch. I could see why people were talking about it. I would even give it 8.5. I would probably say about an 8.5.
Man, her number is going up.
They are going up because, I mean, it's really good conversation.
It's going to be a 10 in a minute.
It's not going to be a 10, but it's really good conversation. It was really good. You know, it was entertaining. I love the fact that, you know, we got to see, like you said, two black men being the leads. I love that they showed DC some of the things that happened in the city, how they were going and running and trying to find this guy, both of these murders, how they popped up. I love how it wrapped up at the end. I thought, yes, there were some silly moments that didn't make any sense that we talked about and addressed, and how, you know, this man was just really, he just had everybody in his pocket throughout the city. So, I mean, I think, you know, even though there were some moments where it was like, that don't make no sense, I still thought it was a very good series. Now, is it a little dark for my taste? Yes. That doesn't take away from the fact that it's a good series. I just thought it was a little dark for me. Would I be running to watch another Alex Cross series this year to beginning of next year? No, I'm just going to keep on hunting with y'all. It's probably going to take me a couple weeks to get into it. And we're going to have to watch it during the day, because that's just how I get down. And I don't care if you laugh at me. That's just how it is. Okay. I mean, it's just some series that everybody talk about that I will not watch. I just won't. So, I mean, it doesn't take away from it being a good series. It just is not something. It's not my preference. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Wow. I think I'm pretty much at the exact same place.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now that's kind of surprising.
I know, right? It was definitely dark. Just more killing, just like graphic killing than I really like to get into. And it's like, that's part of the story, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is integral, that you have to see this happen and see that happen. So that kind of thing, it was a little heavy in that area. I'll probably go 7.5 or 8. I don't know if I'll go up to 8.5 just yet. only because I just had so. And again, this is not necessarily meaning it's a bad story. I just really didn't enjoy the horrible, shoddy police work they was doing, man. Now, I mean, I always like try to play devil's advocate with myself, though. Like, let's say that wasn't the case. Let's say they were great at the police work. Would that have made the story better? And probably not. No. So that's why I always I'm temper my comments where it's like, I'm not saying this made it bad. Mm-hmm. I just didn't enjoy seeing them flub so many police work things, but
or like the witness that they got, and that was a really big one. They got a witness, and then they put him in a safe house and then killed him. Yeah, which was like what?
They were horrible at all of those things.
But that technically wasn't Alex's fault.
Technically, true.
But
my wife went off on me, y'all.
We had a conversation about it because he's like, he was gonna keep he should have kept the witness hidden, but how?
But that's okay. I will admit that's a stretch. I'm just going off where I would have been thinking. I would not have. There's so many. There's a lot of points in this show where I just would have approached things with those stakes way differently. Mm-hmm. Like a couple of times, like with the lady hiding behind the door. There's no way I wouldn't have already been ready to strike within second one. Like, there's no hesitation. Or even when they were in the cabin, the moment the boy showed her, this woman is going to kill us, I'm going to kill her right now. I'm not waiting around and playing no game and trying to hesitate, because guess what? She ain't got no backup right now. She think we all he-he-he-in. Yeah. I got the advantage. If I wait and try to play something, she going to figure it out. She's an evil killer.
Yep.
She gonna know what's up. I'm gonna lose my advantage, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because, I mean, she was willing to sell out her own daughter, which, old boy had to find out because she blamed it on Cross. So, yeah, she was willing to sell out her own daughter.
You see that picture, it's like they were saying, she did this long?
Yeah.
Like what John Sampson says, she went to get trained at your school to get in with your, like, that's a long game.
I mean, they both were doing a long game.
The moment you see that, I'm like, I'm killing this woman. I'm not waiting around for somebody that would do all of that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sitting here with these kids.
Yeah. You're right.
There's no way.
She tried to drug her drink?
Yeah, it's like,
that didn't even work.
It didn't work.
She was like, I don't go to sleep. Like, what
drug did she have?
And it was only supposed to be like a little bit. So they made it seem like she didn't have anything in there. And it was like a whole lot of that pill.
I don't understand what she even put in there. She's not the killer. I can see if the killer do it. Of course, he got lethal drugs all over the place.
Something.
Probably had some regular over-the-counter type stuff.
Something that's supposed to put you to sleep, right? That didn't work.
Absolutely did not. That's why you don't play them games.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because for one, just to even get to the point to drug or drink, she had to sit there and act.
Yes.
What if you're not good at it? What if she see through? It's too much risk.
And that's exactly what it was, right? Because as soon as they came in the room, she was there ready.
She was ready. Yeah, see,
I agree. I give it I think I agree with you. I give it a solid 8.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is, and again, a lot of my the knocks on it is just really Hollywood knocks. It's not really knocks on the show, but Hollywood has to do certain things to make it more intriguing, right? Like the fact that when people's lives are on the line, they get real like squeamy and like squirmy and flailing. Oh my God, help! But really, most of the time in human nature, people they can raise themselves to being a killer just like they killer. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people ain't gonna just be like, "Oh, help!" Right. But I know they got to do that for TV and stuff like that. But I'm always disappointed when that happens. But like when the lady finally did get him, she started getting the best of that girlfriend. I was like, "Come on, man, you gonna let the grandma beat you? Come on."
You're right. It was like, girl, but I mean, obviously, this chick, she wasn't ready, right? She wasn't ready to really address that. Like, that girl was prim and proper.
Once you see somebody clearly is an insane murderer, you got to step your game up. You can't this ain't no regular fight.
Right. It's not a regular fight. Just like with old girl with the bottle. It's like, what are you doing? And and it was so many moments of the show. Like you have him with his mask covering up his face so people wouldn't know who he was. And he's part of this creepy club.
First of all, the image of him with that mask on is creepy horrible. As it gets.
And then you got all these people that are also in the club doing this work. Yeah, so my number changing, y'all. It's going down. I mean, again, it's not a bad show. I don't think it's a bad show, but it did have just so...
So was it better than Reasonable Doubt, though?
Not even in the same genre. Can't even compare them.
True. Well, I mean, for me, I feel like it is kind of... I look at it as kind of like a flip side of it.
Because this is a thriller.
This is a thriller. There was some thriller elements of Reasonable Doubt with the dude capturing her and kidnapping her and killing himself.
It's more drama.
It was more drama. You're right. But I look at it as as a writer, what they are ultimately starting with is a character, right? They're trying to show the complex life of this character who is a superstar at what they do, but have all of these complications around them in their life. So I thought, between Alex Cross and what was our girl's name from Reasonable Doubt? Jax Stewart or something like that. Yep. Between Alex Cross and Jax Stewart, I thought,
Jacqueline, I think.
I do think they did a good job of showing some very complex characters who have one thing that they are superstars at, but there's so many other things in their life that they're either failing at or struggling at or having a hard time. And there's parenthood, there's people trying to kill them, there's romance, it's all kind of stuff. So I thought, and then they balanced multiple main storylines on top of those characters. So in my mind, I was looking at them as similar. I don't know which one I thought was better. I just threw that question out. I like this show though. I'll give it a 7.5 strong.
Strong 7.5, and I said 8.
Yeah. I am. Would I watch season 2 when it rolls out? Yeah. It had to be the right time, and I probably would want to binge more. Just because you don't want that over too many days.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
We were ready for it to be over.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, we still got one more. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And we've been trying to get back here with y'all to give some more content. We've been rocking and rolling in our new city. God gave us new territory. We set up shop. We've been loving it. There are some struggles, so, some ups and downs as always with anything. But you count your blessings, right? So when we were giving our Thanksgiving yesterday, one of the things that we could really look back on is the time that we get to spend together.
Yes.
Watching a show like this, a show like Reasonable Doubt, for, me and Babe to be able to sit down and enjoy some time together and talk about each other's opinions and takes. That's really what we like to do. And it's a blessing that we get the opportunity to do it.
Yes.
Right now, Babe has been on leave, so we've had a little bit more time, but it's still kind of hard for us to find enough time together to sit down and watch these shows, particularly a show like this, because we gotta keep it away from our kids.
Yeah, we do. And we have to stop it every time they come close.
Gotta
so that
stop
they're
it.
not really hearing it or seeing anything that'll pop up on the screen, like blood and gore and brains. And
it was a lot of that. And you know how kids do, man. They come in on the worst part. Soon as something about to happen.
And our kids are sensitive, so that's not really anything that they really want to see. We don't. Granted, they watch all kinds of stuff on YouTube anyway, but it's still we don't have to expose them to anything crazy or traumatic like that. Then we're not going to. So, just trying to find the right time to watch stuff like that, and then it's like. It's so dark. Do we really want this to cloud up our great day that we're having? Like if we're having a date day or something, or if we can go step out to lunch really quickly, it's like, do we really want this energy to sit on it? Do we want our spirit to be funneled down with this type of energy from this show? Maybe not right now. That's why yesterday was just like, absolutely not today. Nope. We're all in good spirit. Tough. I don't want to end the day on this dark, traumatic movie. This guy is trying to kill his family, and it was too much. Beat up Mama Nana.
Everybody got hurt somehow. It was crazy.
So yeah, like I said, I don't want to take it down because I didn't particularly care for a lot of it, but at the same time,
it's part of your review.
It's part of my review. Yeah, and they did it. They did good. I was happy to see it end on a really good note for everybody.
I think that's important because there's going to be a lot of people out there who may not have seen it. And yeah, they may be like, you know what? I'm like you. I don't really like getting into stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know, especially in the
could be-
daytime, you know.
A lot of people, I mean, we've seen quite a few people say that they loved it, you know?
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. They got a good formula. I hope they do make a season 2.
I absolutely do too.
I hope it's great. Again, like Babe said, we might not watch it right away. We have to find the right time to squeeze it in, but I hope they do, just for the success of stories like
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Give them another go at it for the next season and hopefully bring back all of the characters too.
Yeah. And shout out to James Patterson.
Yes,
what I'm saying?
James.
Do your thing. Hopefully.
Yeah, he got children's books now, y'all.
I saw that.
Yeah, I grabbed a couple from the library for the kids to check out.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be the next James Patterson.
Baby, you're going to be bigger than that, okay?
Look at that.
We putting that into existence right now in
at
Jesus'
that.
name, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned for that, y'all, because I just finished my first fiction novel.
We
And
did, y'all.
it's
Get
in
ready.
the hands of a couple of beta readers, my babe being number 1 beta reader.
Indeed.
And yeah, y'all gonna hear more about it
Good.
on all of the podcasts. I'll make some videos and stuff over the next few months as we figure out the publishing route and avenue. But yeah, we want it to be a journey that we all on, including y'all. So rock with us, y'all. All right. We appreciate y'all for joining us
Thanks for
here
tuning
on this
in.
review.
It's always fun.
This Thanksgiving leftover day.
Yes, that we've been smashing on.
Yo, we love y'all, man. Keep rocking and join us again here later for some more on the Open Book Podcast.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Yo, this beat though, man.
It's all right, man. It's all right.
You know, hood friends, they don't stay good friends. We got no blueprint for this, but we got footprints. And he who finds a wife finds a good thing, the book says. Now we making music like whistling woodwinds. I feel we should two-step, now we gon' hand dance. Etta James said better days to come at last. Walking down the aisle, now the sound of the pitter-pat. You so well endowed though, we don't need Similac, we just spitting facts. Us got a nice ring to it. Circle on your finger, white dress in the theme music. We don't keep no secrets though, we open books. We on the same team, we get that open look. And we don't close the chapter till we open the book. Ephesians is no to us, we supposed to look. But you know I was showing out till you showed up. You took me on a ride out of neutral, huh? You ready for the level up, it's mutual, huh? You ready for the level up? Let's level up. Water to my soil, baby, made me grow. Daily affirmations, yeah, you played your role. Before we had our love scene, I cleaned my act. And since we walked the aisle and never seen a mat. Yeah, and these are facts you can co-sign. We's a whole vibe back when Quest was a whole tribe. Man, I stared you down when we met like she's so fine. Whole time God had a plan in the whole 9. Like me and you on a ride till the wheels gone. And even after that when we flying with wings on. When you need some help with the zip on your queen roll. And I need some help with the note that we singing on like glory, glory. Every open book got 2 stories. Unfold like newspapers, true story. Queen's the best thing that happened to a king. She's the best thing that happened to that ring. We was a mess before we matched up with that ring. The wedding was a draft, now we run a killer team. Told you my dreams first date out. Flirting behind home plate, queers just making out. You swung first pitch, said I was the one already. Your mama loved me, said I was a son already. I wasn't ready, first pitch curved in the air. I ran out of left field, thought I was a player, but you was not buying tickets to sit up in the stands, and you was not crying a river. Not over no man, and when you back I had to step up my hygiene. Started using truth paste cause I had that lie gene. Now we don't keep no secrets though, we open books. We on the same team, we get that open look. And we don't close the chapter till we open the book. Ephesians is no to us, we supposed to look. But you know I was showing out till you showed up. You sure was. It sure was. Sure, yeah. Rock it out now. Yo, you gotta do that dance Michael Jackson did and rock with me. Y'all know what it is. Yeah, rock it out, yo. Yo. Snap your fingers. You gotta have your drink in one hand, snap the finger with the other. Yo, it's different when you got Tanqueray though. They even make that still? I don't even know. send you one.